Hello and welcome to CadoinkStudios. I have for you the third and final game in round 2 of the Golden Below tournament between Shreya and Arcanine. We had Arcanine taking game number 1, Shreya taking game number 2. Now we are indeed on game number 3 on Daybreak. We have Shreya this time spawning as the yellow Protoss player in the top right, and his opponent is Arcanine, the orange Zerg's player, spawning on the bottom left. Interestingly, his little decals are still yellow. I don't know why that is. So, yeah, we had 2 very exciting games beforehand, and the winner of this will move on to round number 3. So good luck to each of our players, and yeah. So, in game number 1, we saw a lot of Zerglings and Mutalisks come out for Arcanine. He did a lot of counterattacking, a lot of I don't know, a lot of kind of pokes and prods, and just doing enough to manage to damage Shreya's base enough to where he could win. In game number 2, we saw Shreya go for a very strong force of Immortals and Stalkers and Zealots, and he just pushed and just crushed Arcanine because Arcanine had a lot of very squishy units. Didn't really have anything solid to deal with that army. His army production was a little bit lower. And so we'll have to see what happens in game number 3. It looks like Shreya is not going to be Forge Fast expanding, which I think is an interesting choice as it worked so well for him in game number 1. However, this is a pretty wide choke, and he does not have any ramps. He has this ramp, which he could force field, but at the same time there's also this ramp here that units can slip up and get into your main through. So he's going to be going for this kind of wall off in the front like he did in game number 1. Hopefully it'll work better for him than it did in game number 1, but we will have to see about that. Looks like Arcanine managed to get his natural down before Shreya was able to block that with a pylon. I'm sure Shreya is bummed about that, as that often makes a huge difference. On this map it won't be so big, as Arcanine can just take his third right there, or his second right there, excuse me, if a pylon was placed in his natural, but because it wasn't, he won't have to worry, and I suspect he'll put down a third pretty quickly anyway, so we'll see how that works out. This Overlord putting it in the usual good spot right here. Also has there's a probe here at the tower, so each player kind of getting some scouting, getting some vision going on. So there are no surprises, no kind of tricky plays here, just very standard usual things going on. Probe and drone production continuing for each of our players, and yeah. So, a little bit of the game's going to go by where not much is going to happen, so I'm going to tell you a story of how I woke up today with a cold. I was feeling pretty good. I haven't been outside in the cold. It hasn't been very cold. I mean, it's summer, so it should be hot. It's like hot in the day, and then it's kind of cooling down in the evening. But it hasn't been very cold. And I woke up today and started casting game number 1. And then my nose just was like, rah, and just started running. And I have no idea where it came from. So yeah, dealing with a little bit of congestion. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it's definitely bizarre. I haven't felt like this since like December when it was cold. So maybe it's just allergies. Maybe it's not a cold. I don't know. My eyes aren't like itchy or anything. My throat isn't scratchy or anything. It's just my nose. Decided it hates me today. So anyway, it looks like Shreya is going to be going for a 3-gate robo. Oh, and that was very cool. The probe slipped in, managing to survive. That is so awesome. As you can just take the probe, right-click the mineral patch, and it'll basically walk through anything. So that was very cool to see. I'm sure Arcanine is bummed that he wasn't able to pick up that probe. And Arcanine is just her usual macroing up. Should be building drones, instead he's building Zerglings once again. He wants to have his presence known about across the map. He's very good at keeping map control. If we look, he has a whole line here. Overlord here, a Zergling here, group of Zerglings here, then he has an Overlord here. So he has vision of this whole area. The only thing he doesn't really see is this tiny little spot right here, which doesn't really matter if anything slips by there. I mean, a probe could and start to build an expansion, but he definitely saw this probe move up there. So he suspects any kind of pylons will be going down. I don't think he'll think it's just scouting, and so he'll move across, pick it off with his Zerglings. Just fantastic play by Arcanine. I really love that, keeping vision of the whole map. And now he's even going to have an Overlord here at this base. He's going to have an Overlord at this base. So he's keeping track of a lot of things. And this is one thing I think Zerg is really strong at, is having vision and keeping control of the map. And Arcanine is doing a fantastic job of that. He's continually spreading his creep. He's continually moving his units around. I just love it. I'm a sucker for this sort of thing. Shreya, in the meantime, knows he can't really get by with any kind of probe scouting, so he did build an observer. Oh my O words, I'm so bad at O words, but he built an observer and is getting into Arcanine's base, so we'll see what is going on. And you'll see the 2 spine crawlers going down as well as a little group of Zerglings. He'll get into the main and see not too much. You'll see a Baneling Nest as well as an Evolution Chamber go down. But once again, no very strong units, you know. A lot of squishy Zerglings, so he can really push out if he wanted to and kind of poke and prod at the front. I'd like to see this happen. However, there are some Banelings morphing at this time, so this might be a little bit difficult. Yeah, so in the meantime, he's just going to continue to macro up and build units. Probably going to be gearing up to take an expansion here pretty shortly. I'd love to see him make use of this robotics facility. He needs to be pumping out some Immortals. He has the money to do it. But it looks like he wants to take an expansion first, so he will be moving out with his units and placing down his Nexus as well as a Pylon. In the meantime, he's sending his observer back to his base. Don't know why he's doing this. I think he could keep it. He could keep it in Arcanine's base and he would be just fine. And for some reason, he's deciding not to take his expansion. He's building a robotics bay. I don't know what the reasoning is behind this. It seems as though he's kind of scared of an attack. However, an attack is not coming. Scared of burrowed roaches, maybe? I don't really know what Shreya's fear is at this time. However, he is quite safe. He could take that expansion if he wanted to. He has the money to do it. And he really needs to because his opponent Arcanine is taking his third. And he will be ahead, much further ahead in the worker supply. In fact, 34 to 28. So he already is a bit ahead. Keeping his observer here at this ramp, he will see this Overlord here. He could come pick it off if he wanted to. However, it looks like he finally is going to gear up to take this natural. I would have loved to have seen it a lot sooner. I don't know what he was worried about, but he doesn't need to worry. Looks like the probe is going to be flying through the army, just waiting to get enough to build a Nexus. Actually, he's going for a Colossi, which is quite expensive. It's 300 minerals. Also getting a Forge up, so he doesn't want to take that expansion. Looks like he wants to get an army first. Finally moving out. Once again, looking as though he might take the expansion. You see a bunch of Zerglings coming in. He will be able to pick them off. His army is strong enough. Arcanine will have to pull that back for now. And now he's going to be picking off this Overlord. The Overlord does go down. Very annoying for Arcanine. And now there are enough minerals to expand. I would love to see Shreya put down an expansion. Come on, put down a Nexus. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Maybe not. Oh, there's a Colossi. There it goes. Finally putting down the Nexus, as well as the Pylon. A bit later than it should have been, but that's quite alright. He will be able to get his economy up and running, as he is very behind in the income tab. In the meantime, it looks like Arcanine continuing to produce Banelings as well as Zerglings, building an extra Spine Crawler, and also getting his Spire. So once again, he's going to be going for Zergling Mulus. Very, very different from what a lot of players are doing. It seems like a lot of players are going Roach Hydra and then transitioning into Broodlords in PvZ. So we'll see how that works out, as Colossi are very, very good against Zerglings. So Shreya will be moving across the map. I'm so excited to see him do this a lot earlier than he did in game number 1 and game number 2. So he will be moving forward and attacking. He sees that there are only Zerglings, and so I don't think he'll have to worry. And oh, the Observer does go down. So now the Zerglings coming in, trying to do some damage. However, the Colossus is here to start picking off a lot of these Zerglings. We'll be trying to destroy these destructible rocks. Oh, nope, just going to go straight up into the main. However, there are a lot of Banelings, and if he is caught in a bad position, it could be very, very bad for Shreya. Picking off this Queen, very nice. And now he will be moving forward. And so a lot of Banelings are coming. He really needs to get some good force fields out, but they weren't quite good enough. Some Zerglings surrounding the army, and the Banelings coming in and landing, killing off everything. Oh no, Shreya. Everything going down, including the Colossi. Arcanine was able to hold that very well with the Zerglings. I'm really quite impressed. He needs more Colossi to deal with that. He also needs that Thermal Lance up, as he does not have that completed. And so now Arcanine will be moving, checking and making sure there is no third, and then pushing into the main, where Shreya could have a lot of trouble. The Colossi is there to try to clean up as many of these Zerglings as possible, as well as the Zealots. However, the Zerglings will be able to slip up into the main and pick off a few of these probes if possible. Shreya will be attacking with his probes, but time spent attacking is time lost in mining. So now we'll finally be putting him back onto the mineral line. These Zerglings should go down here pretty shortly. Just getting roasted right there by the Colossi. Also building another Colossi. Would like to see some upgrades coming out from the forge. Looks like he does not have, he does have +1 attack, but he really needs to get +2 attack, which he is just now starting, because his opponent does have 1-1 working on 2-1, which is just about finished, and so that'll make his Zerglings even stronger. So yeah, both players once again kind of in their base, macroing up. This is a good decision. Some Mutalisks coming out for Arcanine. You will be able to start doing some poking and prodding into the main. It's going to be very annoying for Shreya, so he probably will have to put down some cannons. He doesn't have too many Stalkers. In fact, we only see 6 of them, and they do not have Blink, so it's going to be hard to deal with any kind of Mutalisk harassment. Once again, Arcanine's building a lot more Banelings. Banelings seem to work well in game number 1, which he did take, so he will be building them again here in game number 3. I think that's a good choice. The Banelings have been able to do some damage, and unless some good force fields go down, they'll land. They'll land on this force. It's not an extremely quick army. He does not have Blink, like I said before. So Banelings will do a lot of damage. It looks like the Mutalisks are here. Very nice reaction time by Shreya, grabbing those probes and running away. But Arcanine is going to do a lot of damage here, and here come the Colossi. The Colossi should not be there, getting a little bit overextended. They will take a lot of damage. Oh my gosh, one of the Colossi looking very dangerously low, 13 health, and that is hull damage, so this is very, very bad for Shreya. In fact, a few more probes coming in, and yeah, this Mutalisk harassment is just incredibly annoying. But it will be pushed back, Shreya holding that. The only real blunder was getting that Colossi kind of overextended and getting damage put onto him. That's very, very bad. So it looks like Arcanine is kind of gearing up to get ready to attack. He's been poking and prodding, but I think he wants to engage here at some point. He has a lot more Banelings than he did before, and a lot more Zerglings. Also continuing to macro up. Really needs to have some drones in his third. He's just kind of not really building too much. But the Mutalisks come back in and do a lot of damage to the probes. If we look, 21 workers killed for Arcanine. Very annoying for Shreya. And uh-oh, the Mutalisks are coming down to the natural. We'll be able to pick off this, this Colossi. This is huge. He's going to pick off 2 of the Colossi, as the Stalkers were up in the main, you know, trying to defend from this Mutalisk attack. And so the Mutalisk just doing tons of damage. If we look in units lost, just almost double. Very, very bad for Shreya. Arcanines look like he might take game number 3 and move on. So Shreya is going to decide to move out across the map. I think he's tired of getting harassed. He wants to put on a bit of damage of his own. Very unluckily for him, though, there are a lot of Zerglings and Banelings, and the Zerglings will be able to surround this army and then let the Banelings come in and do the rest of the damage. One of the Stalkers getting a little bit far ahead of itself, however the rest of the group manages to get there, and uh-oh, here comes the Banelings. The Banelings landing on the Stalkers, doing a lot of damage, and now the Zerglings are just kind of coming in and surrounding everything, picking off these Zealots very, very quickly, as well as the rest of the Stalkers, and now there's not much of an army, and Shreya leaves the game. Oh my goodness, without even GGing. Very sorry to see you go, Shreya. You played quite well in game number 2, and you played well in game number 1 and 3 as well. However, Arcanine just did a lot of very nice, obnoxious little pokes and prods on the sides of your base. Very hard thing to deal with, especially in the lower leagues. So, congratulations, Arcanine. I'm excited to see you in round number 3. Don't know who you will be playing yet. We'll be casting some more round 2 games here very shortly. And so yeah, congratulations Arcanine and Shreya. Don't give up. Keep playing tournaments. Keep playing StarCraft. Keep laddering. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you in some more tournaments. See you guys.